100 years ago.
Secure the cargo.
A power that could have changed the course of history was lost. Generations have searched for it.
Snowy, look at this.
It was long claimed the ship was carrying a secret cargo.
But no one has found a clue. Until now.
Hello and welcome to What the Flick. We are being brought to you in motion capture animation. Can you tell? Do we look creepy and not entirely real? That's how I feel right now. Anyway, I'm Christy, this is Matt, this is Alonso, that's Ben. We're gonna talk about the Adventures of Tintin. We did War Horse already today, and we're doing the other Spielberg movie this week.
Yes.
Please tell us about it.
And I don't like this one either.
Yay!
This is based on the legendary comic books by the Belgian artist and writer Hergé. And Tintin is a boy journalist who goes on wacky adventures. And on this one, he meets a character who is one of the staples of the comics, Captain Haddock. And the two of them go off to search for ships that Captain Haddock would be inheriting. And it involves hidden scrolls and model boats in bottles and moving hotels and lots of loud things. Check it out.
The model ship conceals a clue to one of the greatest secrets in all history.
I'm warning you. Get out while you still can. These people do not play nice.
I will find that ship, with or without your help.
Thanks. I'm Tintin, by the way.
Haddock. Archibald Haddock. Someone's locked the door.
The keys, Snowy. The sandwich. The keys.
How could you let them escape?
If Sakharine finds the ship before we do, it's over.
This isn't just the ship. Yours vengeance.
Tintin.
Look.
This may sound crazy, but I've got a plan.
Excellent.
Did you hit anything?
Oh dear.
Land! We're not there yet! No! Land!
You looked a little cold, so I lit a wee fire.
In a boat! Well, this is a fine mess.
Hail Tintin!
So this is essentially what Raiders of the Lost Ark would have looked like if motion capture animation existed 30 years ago?
Boy, they wish. They were shooting for Raiders, and I think this is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yes,
It's
I'm
at least
so-
Last Crusade.
No, well, look, here's the thing. Spielberg, I think, used to be really good at sort of pacing these kind of things and, like, you know, it's kind of a symphony, you know, there's crescendos and then there's downtime and then there's crescendos, and, you know, this movie is all crescendo. Like, there's barely any breathing room between
nonstop.
set piece and explosion and cannon shot and crane fight, and, you know, and it's just like, it's numbing after a while.
It does move very quickly, and there is a lot of stuff. But I think he's excited about the possibilities that motion capture animation afford him. Like all the stuff he'd want to do, those big, long, fluid chase scenes and tracking shots, which you can do with this kind of animation. I think he's sort of giddy with them.
But you know,
and goes nuts.
You know how else you can do that? Regular animation, like 2D animation,
What's your problem with
based
motion
on
capture?
the gorgeous line drawings that exist in this comic.
What's
you
your
know.
problem with motion capture?
Motion capture looks freaky. Like, it's great for animals. I think Andy Serkis deserves an Oscar nomination for Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
It's great for aliens. You know, Avatar looked terrific. They still can't do people. And
but I don't think they're trying to.
I think it's supposed to be stylized.
It absolutely is.
but
Those characters, Tintin is not supposed to look like a regular person.
But they're in a weird
caricatures.
rubber middle ground
Yeah,
that's
I was
neither
okay
fish
with
nor
that.
fowl.
I
And if Spielberg and Peter Jackson can't do it, then we can't do it yet. Like,
See, I had less of a problem with that than I did, say, the Polar Express, which is too realistic,
no,
and that's too freaky.
It's way better than Polar Express or Mars Needs Moms or the other films that are Christmas Carol that have tried to do it so far. Granted,
Beowulf
but
was
it's not
cool.
there yet.
Beowulf
looked cool, but that was again where that was pulling back from being realistic.
Yeah, I mean,
beings.
Beowulf actually was a little creepier in the way the people looked than this one was. Like, they looked like their comic counterparts, and I was okay with that. I really like this movie. Yes, the pacing, like it goes up to 11 and never really stops, and that was a little bit of a problem, but some of those set pieces, I mean, you jump to these pieces throughout the movie, these sequences that are just amazing, that I think that the CGI affords Spielberg and Jackson to do things that wouldn't be the same, I think, in traditional animation. That you see in the trailer, like that fight between the pirate ships, that he jumps back and forth to Haddock telling that story, I thought was really impressive. I really liked that. The chase scene where the dam bursts, in the Middle East, I thought that was really cool. Like and then the end where the cranes are fighting and it's cutting between these cranes and the sword fight.
And inside the windows of the cranes and back out one and into the other. It's really cool.
I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was really great. And the 3D, it wasn't overwhelming with things coming at you. I thought the 3D helped make that really immersive. And I think it was a better use of 3D than even, say, something like Avatar.
Or Hugo.
Or Hugo,
really?
even. Like, it wasn't really making me, it wasn't, oh, look, we're flying, look, we're doing this. It was more, yes, you feel like you're kind of jumping around. It added a level of excitement.
It's hard for me to judge the 3D because I saw it on the Paramount lot, and they used the worst kind of 3D, that expand crap with the heavy glasses, and it's always dark, and it's never, if I'd gotten to see this in Real D or like IMAX 3D, I might have more of a feel for it. But even without the 3D, taking that out of the picture, I just found this movie ugly to look at and just I felt so bombarded, and I really was looking forward to it. Figuring that if anybody could make mocap work, it was this team. And second of all, because it was co-written by Joe Cornish and Edgar Wright, who are the people behind one of my favorite movies this year, Attack the Block. And Attack the Block is way better than this movie. I'm sorry. It made for a fraction of the cost.
Right, but speaking of those guys, did the stuff with Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg work for you?
Nick Frost?
Nick Frost, Nick Wright.
They're barely in it, but those characters, even in the books, are sort of the bumbling comic relief. So they were a lot truer to their literary counterpart than a lot of this movie is, because there's a lot more sleuthing and traveling in the Hergé, and here it's more about explosions and large things collapsing.
I felt like there was a certain
there's some of it, but
I was going to ask that question. You guys have read the books. I've not read the books. Is this faithful? If you're a fan of the books, will you like this movie?
I think so. Okay. I think so. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't do wrong by them.
Is it bearable for a grown-up without a child?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I think it.
But it's good for kids too. Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of fun. Yes, it does. It gets a little frenetic at times. It doesn't ever let you up, and I think that's kind of a problem with it. But I found myself really enjoying this movie and was super pumped up coming out of it. I was excited the whole time. And again, some of those scenes, some of the big action sequences, especially involving the Haddock character, I thought were great. That's Andy Serkis's performance here. He just gets better and better, and I'd love to see him finally starting to get more accolades for what he does. I mean, yes, it's all motion capture, but that's based on a performance that he did.
Oh yeah, no
right?
question.
And one of the things he said in one of the interviews about it is, what's great about motion capture, it allows you to take risks as an actor you wouldn't otherwise necessarily take with your face, and I think that shows here. That character of Haddock. Yes, he's a cartoon, and he is somewhat stylized. I completely bought that as a person, and it worked for me.
I could not get past the so-called uncanny valley, where everybody just looked weird, and those faces just don't work for me still. I'm still waiting for somebody to really pull it off, but this movie didn't do it for me.
Can we discuss Snowy?
Snowy, a non-human, looked great. I loved Snowy.
Snowy's the star of the whole thing.
Is this Spielberg's worst streak for you? Because you just you panned Warhorse and you're panning this.
Yeah, as far as his twofers go, and this is like the third year, right, that he's had two movies. Not simultaneously, but like Schindler's List and Jurassic Park were the same year, and there was another time he did it. Yeah, this is the first time where I didn't like either of them.
And you think these are totally within they fit in the Spielberg canon?
I wouldn't say Warhorse is one of his best, but I think that he's done a really great job with Tintin.
Tintin's very Spielbergy. Yeah,
for
it's
his
all him.
For his first animated feature, I think he's done a great job.
So what'd you give it? 8?
I gave it an 8.
I gave it a 7.2.
I'm going to be the bad guy here, 4.5, sorry.
I tell you, after the way you described it, that seems high.
Because if you can get past the faces, I think there is a lot of fun camera work. There is a lot of fun. I liked Snowy a lot, but there was just too much of everything, and it was annoying.
So we come to a 6.6. I didn't see it, in case you haven't figured that out yet. 6.6. What's it at?
75 on
75. So it's generally certified fresh. What is it? Certified fresh at what?
At
70?
least 75%.
Oh,
with
75.
40 reviews.
All right. Okay, so recommend
Yes.
you liked it a lot. Go see it.
I liked it a lot. Go
Right.
see it.
Right, and you're
Don't
a dick.
listen to a lot though.
Yeah.
I speak my truth.